How have you been? You been all right?
Yeah. It's been, up and down and up and down this year and up and down and mostly that way. So.
What do you got going on?
Um, hibernating, a lot of hibernating, all of January. Because I got made redundant in January, lost my job, maybe temporarily, but we'll see how it goes. But and then just went to went into my old winter routine of just sleeping, nocturnal sleeping, get January out of the way, cut on heating bills.
It's a good month to do it.
It's pretty depressing and it's pretty awful.
No, I mean it because if you're gonna go through the shits like that, I'd rather it be done in a month that is depressing, like January or December. Well, maybe not December, but January. Yeah, at least it's not the holidays.
That's no, but it's all right. It's I might get the job back. We'll see what happens. I don't have to do anything for a while, so I'm just taking it easy for a few months, chilling out and trying to get my head around playing guitar and enjoying that again. So
That's good. I mean, that's all you really can do. And honestly, I feel like that's like one of the best times that you can sit with a guitar is when something like that does happen.
well, I just bought the new guitar as well because at the end of last year it was like touch and go as to whether we'd get laid off for a few months, and it all sounded like we wouldn't get laid off. So the PRS Hollow Body 2 Piezo came up for sale. So it was like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then a week later, I got made redundant. And it was like, oh, right, okay. But then my redundancy money paid for the guitar pretty much. So I don't really care. So it's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it? So it's a nice guitar. So
How do you think of the piezo with it?
um, it's pretty damn good, actually. It's got a decent preamp and that in it. I'm going to do a comparison video. I've been thinking how to do it, but I'm going to put it up against 3 other electroacoustics. Different prices, different body sizes, different pickup systems, and see how it stacks up as an electroacoustic. So that's one I've been meaning to do. I've just got to come up with something to play and mess about on. But it's good. I took it down to my brother's, had a real good jam with it. It's a real nice guitar. So yeah, I didn't need it, but I got it.
Well, isn't that the story of pretty much everything?
Yeah, but they're such good value at the moment. Those things you can get because they've just done an upgrade on them, but I can't tell what the upgrade is. It actually seems like they've put a lesser finish on it, so I don't
It's a
know.
weird one, isn't it? I saw one of them. It looks like dog hair almost,
That's it.
like that
Yeah,
black with like the little things,
yeah,
the little white accents.
yeah. And so it's the finish is less than what I've got. Flame maple and maple binding and the abalone birds and all this sort of stuff, and that hasn't. And it's so I don't know what they're doing. I can't see any other upgrades on it, but the difference between getting just the hollow body with the humbuckers and the one with the piezos is about 550 quid.
Yeah.
So if you compare it to getting a standard hollow body and an acoustic guitar for about 500, or an electric for 500 and an acoustic for 800, it makes it quite an interesting comparison, I think.
I would agree with that, and I like those PRS guitars that have the piezo in them. I forget where I was, but it wasn't a traditional place that people would perform or I would expect to hear live music. And I heard somebody just playing and singing like as you would, and I thought it was an acoustic guitar because
Yeah.
it was going through a PA system, and I was like, oh, it's just jam. And as I got closer, I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's that was pretty convincing for far away. And I guess like, when you're recording and all that, obviously nothing's going to sound as good as a mic'd up acoustic, like a proper acoustic. But
No.
for that kind of thing, I thought it did a really good job.
No, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think it's got an LR Bags preamp in it, I think. And those things cost a few hundred just on their own. So it's really
Oh
doing the
yeah.
job. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to compare it against an old vintage acoustic, which goes for about 300, sort of 250, 300
Yeah.
as dreadnought thing. But just basic sort of pick up in there. And then against this thing, the parlor guitar. So a bit more
Which
expensive,
I still
different
love
body
that one.
size.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then the Yamaha AC3R, which has got the trick electronics with the impulse responses from microphones and rooms and all that built into it. So,
Too much.
but it sounds freaking good plugged in. So that's what I'm going to compare it. Because you could buy the Ibanez AS93 and that Yamaha guitar for the same cost as buying one of those PRS hollow bodies. Or if you really wanted a hollow body, the Ibanez A AMH90, is it, the little hollow body double coating,
Yeah,
yeah, which looks gorgeous. Same electronics as the AS93, and I have to say, I still rate that Ibanez even against that PRS.
I was gonna say when
Yeah,
you say it like that,
yeah.
uh,
The Ibanez would, if you just bought the hollow body PRS without the piezo, the PRS SE would still be about 300 quid more than the Ibanez.
I love
And
those guitars.
the Ibanez is just freaking amazing build quality and everything. It's every bit as good. So
I've never understood why those didn't take off the way that the Epiphones have.
no,
I just don't get it. I think
no,
they're objectively much better guitars.
it's yeah, it's easily competing with the guitar £300 more expensive. That's what I said when I got it. I couldn't believe it wasn't 1,000 quid. It was like just over
Yeah.
500, and I can't believe how they've done it for less than 1,000. So we'll see. But that would be my choice. That would be the Ibanez AS93 and the Yamaha acoustic with all the trick electronics. I'd keep that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's handy just lugging around one guitar. You don't have to worry about changing scale lengths and body shapes and sizes halfway through a gig. It's all there and it sounds freaking good. And if you're an electric guitar player, it's a lot more convenient because lighter strings, electric guitar strings, blah, blah, blah. So I
Yeah.
don't think there's going to be a winner in the comparison. I think it's just going to be, these are different guitars, these are different budgets. This is what you could have had.
What I think interesting about YouTube, and you and I have both done this, and the way that you just summed it up, how you want to present this, I think is the right way to do it, if there is a right way to do it. And I often see the pitfalls of, people will compare a guitar versus a different guitar, and they'll say, "Oh, this one is the best. This is
Yeah,
so much better." And
no,
I mean, granted, we all have personal opinion. And earlier in this, I said, "Yeah, I would much rather have the Ibanez than the Epiphone in that example." But that's just, I think there's so much of it has to be personal preference, but also just like, here are your options. Like, I'm
yeah,
not going to tell you like, is this significantly better than this? Like, it's because to everybody it's different. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
just weird, and it feels like you have to declare a winner at the
No,
end of
it's,
everything if you do YouTube. Otherwise, you pissed off half the comment section.
yeah, well, in that case, the winner is the vintage guitar because I got it as a B stock, brand new,
Yeah.
couldn't find anything wrong with it, and it cost me £99 delivered. And
Oh,
it's a Dreadnought electroacoustic solid top, and I drag that around with me and play that, and I absolutely love it. And it's never, it's not, doesn't sound like £1,000, 3,000 quid Martin, but it will never let you down. Stable as hell, and it will
yeah.
do everything. If that was my only acoustic, then so be it. So that's really the winner.
Well, you're the winner at that point
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
you got
It's
it for
like,
100 quid. That's really funny how when you word it like that. But
but
you said you wanted to play. Well, actually, you did say one other thing I wanted to touch on, and you said switching neck shapes when you're playing and you're actually out. And do you know that's the reason I sold that purple Paul Reed Smith guitar? I think last year I took that guitar out to a gig with the Gibson I had, the
yeah,
semi-hollow body, the red one. I played the Gibson for the first half of the set, and when I picked up the PRS, my hand just completely cramped because the neck was so small and so
yeah,
bad. Like I didn't play guitar for like 3 days after. I put it back down and picked the Gibson back up, but I was just like, nope, can't do it. I can't switch between those two guitars. Were not doable for me to switch back and forth on like that. And
no,
I think it's not something that, you know, you would really consider all that much, because if you're just sitting home and playing, like if I'm just like sitting for the day and I have an hour to play, I'm going to pick one guitar. I'm just going to play the one guitar. I'm not going, oh, I'm going to pick this one for 5 minutes and this one for 5 minutes. It's just so you
yeah,
don't notice it as much. But especially if you're out playing sets, it's important to have, at least if you could do the one guitar, that's great. That's amazing. Hope nothing goes wrong with it. But if you do bring a second guitar, having one that feels similar is definitely an added plus.
yeah, definitely. I think it's yeah, you're getting used to different scale lengths, different string tensions, the way the body sits, where your sight
Yeah.
line is, especially if you're trying to sing as well, and you can't look down and forward and everywhere else.
Well, you
And
can, it just won't look good.
no, it's difficult. Just one eye over here and one over here. It's like, so it solves a lot of problems. It does solve a lot of problems, that PRS. I'm not saying that I wouldn't choose that instead. It depends on what I was doing, I think. If I was out doing open mic stuff and that'd be ideal. Open mic live looping stuff, take one guitar. That's it. But
Well, you got some
yeah.
free time. Why not do it?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I've been meaning to again.
Yeah.
It's just that mental block, I think. So
No,
we'll get there. We'll
I
get there.
understand.
We'll
I
get there.
understand, but sometimes you know how it is, man. Sometimes the only way around or over those shitty hurdles is to just say, I don't care, whatever. And even if you don't want to do it, you just go, because
Yeah.
it could just take the one time, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm here like every week now, and it's just
Yeah.
I can't imagine not doing it again. And you do have the opportunity to do it, but I mean, I hope you do, because you're good and you have fun, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. They've just started a very informal one just in the pub where I worked.
Mhm.
Just a few people just sitting around a table with acoustics on a Tuesday night. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, just yeah. I almost got there the other week, but was thrown off course by real life got in the way again. So almost, I was like halfway out the door. And it was like, oh God, no. But never mind. We'll get there. Small steps, isn't it? So
No, I understand, but I guess I want to ask you that, because I said I wanted a few things I did want to talk to you about, and we're already totally unintentionally leaning into it, and I kind of like how this is kind of formed into this conversation. I just wanted to ask you, firstly, what was your greatest memory about playing live? Like, was there like one time where you just had like the best time and you've never been able to recreate it, or it's something you look back on and you're like, man, that was fun.
yeah, yeah, it's a really weird one.
Oh, good. I like that.
Uh, I was on holiday with a couple of old mates back in 2000. We went to Ibiza, and we were by far the oldest people in the apartment, and we were by far the baddest people in the apartment. We were bad boys,
Ibiza,
like
yeah.
So yeah, and so all the cool kids and that were partying in our room and on our balcony, and all this house was the place to be. We had all the music. I took an acoustic with me, and sitting there one evening, there's about 10 or 15 people on the balcony, and I just start. I'm sitting there, and I may have had various influential things going through my mind at the time. It's like, it's a party island, you know how it goes. I'm sitting there playing acoustic guitar on the balcony, and the sun's just going down, and I get into this tune, and I just keep it going. I keep it going for about 20 minutes, just morphing it and bringing in all sorts of Balearic beat stuff and just all sorts of shit. It was the 20th anniversary. No, what was it? It was 2000. So it was the anniversary of Jimi Hendrix dying, 30th anniversary of Jimi Hendrix's death while we were over there. So there was lots of Hendrix. So I was morphing all this in. Anyway, just sitting there playing this acoustic, completely lost in it. No amps, no nothing. When I stopped, not only did the people on the balcony went mad, every freaking hotel down the street,
Oh,
all the lights were coming on
lit
the
up like
balconies. People just like,
Christmas.
it was absolutely like hundreds of people. And it was just like, what the freaking hell was that? And it was like, look, for 100 yards down the street, every freaking, it was like, holy hell. And it was, yeah, just sitting there playing an acoustic on this balcony. I must have stopped like 200 people in their tracks and just like, and that's giving me the chills just talking about it.
Thinking about it. Yeah, but
It
that's
was
exactly the feeling I wanted to see if you had one of those.
freaking
Because,
insane.
oh, it's amazing, man.
Yeah, it
That's
was,
amazing.
just, yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, really bizarre.
But
I
that's
just
the
stopped.
best ones, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
when you go out to if you get booked to go play a gig or whatever, it's like you know what's coming. You kind of have an idea, and if it goes well, it's great. It's not a big deal. It's those times where maybe you're not even like thinking you're going to play to anybody, period, because I have a very similar experience to that, where I wasn't a gig, it wasn't an actual gig, but it was one of like my favorite memories as far as playing a guitar. That stuff is, yeah, man, that's the magic, man. That's what it's
yeah,
all about.
yeah. It's yeah, lots of old gigs, but that, yeah, you say that was just totally impromptu. I was just sitting on a chair in the corner and just like head down playing, and that's just
And
how it
that's
went.
it.
Yeah,
How long did you go?
I've bloody what playing?
Yeah.
Oh, it could have well been 40 minutes. I don't know. 20, 30, 40 minutes. I don't know how long I played that tune. I just
It
went
depends
and
how
just,
much you drank.
yeah, time was, say there were things at play.
That's funny you say that, because one thing that I had was really similar to that, except not in Ibiza. And for those not familiar, that's one of like most notorious places in Spain to go on holiday and really, really party. Like,
Oh yeah, it's a party island. Yes, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
lots of influences, so to
Oh yeah,
speak, as
yeah,
Bravo so eloquently put it. And
yeah.
it's a free for all, man. It's not many places in the world like that.
I was heavily influenced. And it
Yeah,
was
man.
just,
Like it's just you can't make that up. I had the same thing happen to me. It wasn't an actual gig. I was at a friend's wedding party in California, and they had this like lovely lit up like front yard. It wasn't a yard because it's California. There's no real grass in California, but it was like all this like beautiful outdoor thing, and everyone's just having a good time. And my buddy played, and he had an old Fender Princeton amp, and I had a Princeton amp too, and he had a Gretsch that day. It was what I played. Well, that he had a few other guitars, but he had a Gretsch, and I was gone, man. I was
mm,
gone. And I was like, you mind if I, just play? He's just like, yeah, knock yourself out. So me being me, just totally, I don't care at this point. Whatever, man. I take the amp and I just sit it outside in the front. No, nobody's expecting anything. It's just people are starting looking at me like, what's he doing? And I just started playing, man. And everybody just like, it was so strange because everyone just started paying attention like straight away. And I don't remember, again, I don't know how long I played. I just remember I was playing and playing
yeah,
and playing, and as people like girls were shouting John Mayer and Taylor Swift and stuff like that. You know how it goes with
yeah,
that. And I did know some John Mayer. That saved me. Taylor Swift, I was up a tree. I didn't have any luck with that. But just having so much fun at the end of it was like the same thing. And everybody's just like, here, have a shot. Here, have a shot. That was so great. Here, have a shot. Have the. I don't remember like the full 24 hours after that, man.
yeah,
But I remember up until like after I was done and all the happiness that went along with it.
yes,
But I mean, everybody wanted to buy me a drink. But I remember thinking to myself, like, you know, I've been fortunate to play at some like pretty nice places, but I like that better. Like I hold that as like a fonder memory because it's spontaneous and
yeah,
it's not expected. And I suppose maybe they had appreciation for it is because of that. Same thing to you.
yeah. It's it's. I was thinking a few years ago we used to rehearse in this room with a band, sort of acoustic sessions and stuff. And we were doing that one night, and we got into a jam session and that, and we were playing something. And again, just we didn't think anybody was listening, and it was
Yeah.
summer, so we had the door open, and we stopped playing, and then there's a restaurant right next door, and everyone just cheered like crazy when we when we finished that. Again, you didn't know that there was about 100 people listening, and then
Yeah.
suddenly all these people are like, that was, so yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's and then you go and do a gig, and everyone just sits there and like talks over the top
Yeah.
of you. And you go, oh god, you've lugged all the kit
Or
there and back, and
yeah.
oh god.
Talking to your friend.
Oh,
And the worst is people spend money to come and see music performances, and they still do that.
that,
Whereas in what we're talking about, nobody didn't pay anything. Everyone's just hanging out, and then they're more into it than the people who spent their money to go and see live music. It's
yeah,
wild, man. It's wild.
yeah, the phone thing really is annoying.
It sucks.
It's just
If I was ever famous, man, I would be like Dave Chappelle. I'd say you can leave your phone at the front because
yeah,
you're here for music, and there's nothing worse than when you see like videos of a concert that are professionally filmed,
yeah,
because sometimes you do that for promotional things, and half the crowd, they are filming it,
yeah.
and it's like, why are you there then? Like, why are you there? You're supposed to be, at least to me, the whole
In the
point of going
moment,
to a
yeah,
live show is just be in the moment, feel the music, appreciate the music, and just suck it all in. Instead, it's like, is somebody blocking my cell phone? My iPhone's got to get the right shot so I can post
oh,
it to Instagram.
yeah,
And then it's distracting when you're on stage. Oh, there's nothing worse than that. Because
yeah,
then it's just like you got to think about it. It's not things that it's not things you take into consideration. You know, at least I didn't used to take it into consideration. But I mean, the more you do it, it's like you kind of get used to it. But I still don't like it.
No, that wasn't really a problem when I was gigging about 20 years ago, and people didn't
Yeah.
really. That wasn't quite so prevalent, but that'd do me in. I just don't understand. Yeah, yeah. it's,
Well,
it's like the people who
well,
walk around with the little earpieces in all the time now. You just think, what's so important? What call are you waiting for? But they're probably listening to music, and I don't know. They're just.
no, I think I know what it is because I do this sometimes. I'm gonna be honest here. If I'm at the grocery store, I'll leave it in.
Oh yes,
Just I got nothing on. I
yeah,
just don't want to be bothered.
yeah,
As terrible as that sounds, like I'm already doing something that I'm not. I'm like, you have to do it. You have to buy food and all that. But like, I don't like forced conversation in situations like that. So I'm just like, I'll just do this. Or if I'm taking my dog for a walk too, I do the same thing. God, I hope my wife doesn't hear me. I'll purposely just have the thing and be like, I just want to walk my dog. I just want to walk my dog. I just
yeah,
want to get back to my house. We both have kind of the anxiety thing going on. And now that I don't drink, I don't have anything to take the edge off. I'm like, I just nope, nope. I want to do what I have to do. Get back in the house sometimes,
yeah.
and just to start playing my guitar. But I mean, when I'm out and playing, or if I'm going out and I'm seeing a show, I don't do any of that because you're already starting off at like common ground when you're going out to see music or play music because they're there for the same reason most of the time, unless
Yeah.
you're just like doing an open mic or something like that where they're just there to eat cheap chicken wings and what quarter pints. Do they even do quarter pints anymore? How much is the cheapest pint these days?
Oh God, a pint here at our pub is depends what you buy, about a fiver, about £5. But London, you're paying
Fine.
eight. London, you're paying about £8 for a pint. Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah,
How do you even get drunk? How can you afford to get drunk? And then
it's
you got to get
ridiculous.
home from in London?
Yeah, I
No,
bought
no.
a glass of wine the other day, and it was what was it? A medium glass of wine, it's 175 mil. So what's that?
Okay.
That's six of those in a bottle or something like no, five in a bottle. That
Five and a
was
half.
that was like over £6
Yeah.
for a little glass of wine like that. £6. Like what the hell? You could buy a bottle for that. It's just, but they've got to sell it for that. So overheads
I
and
mean, overheads. I mean, that's always the line I think about because it's like, yeah, you want to support the business, you want to support the bar, you want to keep them open, but at the same time, like you said, you can buy a 12-pack if you want to drink,
yeah,
and it'll cost you less than 3 beers.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
But you're not out and drinking it in a cool place, seeing music. It's all part of the thing, and the next thing you know, you spent $200 to see some guy botch Oasis songs live at the pub.
oh God, no, no. I've been going down for one glass of wine a week, so that's it.
Okay.
But I've been helping out. I've been doing a bit of cleaning up and some stuff, so I generally don't have
Yeah.
to pay for the wine. So I do 20 minutes of messing about and throwing rubbish in bins for them, and I get a free glass of wine. So
I'm guessing you're a red.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, figured.
very nice,
There you are. Caps off.
very nice. That's an Australian one. That is running with bulls. Special offer. Look for the
Right.
yellow. Look for the yellow labels on everything.
I don't remember if it was Australian or New Zealand, but there's a red cab that used to have like the beach on it and then a pair of sandals. And I could always get the bottle for like 4.99.
Oh
This was
right,
a few years ago in California. It was like very inexpensive, but I didn't mind the way it tasted. And I wasn't a big wine guy, but I would always think like if I bought beer, I'd drink it fast because that's
yeah.
that's beer. But if I buy wine, I don't like the taste as much, so I could kind of sip it. So for writing, I actually found wine to be much more up my alley because it took me longer to get there.
Yeah, yeah, wine's nice. It relaxes me in a way. Nice muscle relaxant, and it's a lot, less bulky than beer. I can't drink beer anymore anyway, so I just can't
Yeah.
can't do it. So I haven't. I don't even know if I've had any this. I think I might have had one beer all year so far.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had anything in almost 3 at this point. So, but it's I don't know. Just the idea sometimes, especially after just a shit day
Oh
of
yeah,
just sitting back and just having a glass or a really nice whiskey. just
Yeah,
one, just
yeah.
sitting back, just being like, oh man, just let it out. But I know if I start again, all it's going to take is the one,
Oh yeah.
and
No,
then
you.
it's going to be the next night and the
No,
next night, and then I
no,
can't fall asleep without it. So just
no.
that ship has sailed. I'm old as far as my partying years go. They're done. I'm a boring man who just wants to play the gig and go home. I don't want to stay and drink. I don't want to talk to anybody after. I don't want to talk about what pedals I used.
No, that's it. No, no. I'm only doing gigs that I can walk to, so I can just get out walk home with all my
There
kit. You
you
know,
go.
that's it. Just
Yeah.
go.
Well, that's the cool thing about a lot of places in the UK and a lot of places in New York and a lot of places in California. New York, it's kind of probably going to be a little bit more similar. You guys don't get that much snow though, do you?
Not really on the scale of it. No, we get about that much,
Okay.
about half an inch, and everything. Everything stops for a month. It's ridiculous. So yeah.
Yeah, but I just mean as far as like if you're walking home from a gig and you have your guitar with you, you're not going to get stuck in a blizzard. That can
Not
happen in New York.
not down here. Up north definitely, but not where I am particularly. So
Okay.
no, but
Yeah.
no, it's I've done worse.
I know. Haven't we all?
You know, God knows how. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know how I've got some of the kit home in the past. I collapsed at a party. We were talking about. I played a party a few years ago, and the musicians got free drink, and that was very nice. But I was trying to get to the beer in the kitchen, and I couldn't get to the beer because there were so many people. So I just grabbed a
Yeah.
glass of whiskey and took that outside and drank that. Went back in the kitchen a bit later, tried to get a beer, couldn't. Grabbed a glass of whiskey, came back outside, and the person who was running the party saw this, so bought the bottle of whiskey out to me.
Oh, that's a terrible mistake.
And I'd finished the gig. I just didn't think about it, and I suppose over the next few hours, I think I'd done the lot, you know. And I was quite happy. Said goodbye to people, went home, and about half an hour was found literally asleep on the sidewalk, just on the pavement, just at the end of the driveway, quite happy, just fast asleep next to the road. So he picked me up and carried me home. I don't remember a thing. And somehow all my kit arrived at home as well. It was really nice. So yeah, I don't remember
That's
a
a
thing.
miracle.
Yeah.
That's a miracle. If I had ever fallen asleep walking home in California or New York, I'd have nothing. Not only would I not have my guitar, I would have nothing. I'd have no wallet. I'd probably have no shoes. And
Nah,
that's going
it's
to sound really strange, but I probably would have had my shoes stolen. That's very, very California thing when you get into certain areas. I mean, they'll take whatever, man. But yeah, fortunately, I don't remember how I got back home sometimes, but I've never had not made it and fallen asleep before.
no, I've woke back. Well, I mean, long time ago. I I have woken up face down in a ditch a couple of times. Literally, I've just walked along and just gone bang and just not noticed it and just fallen face first down there, feet sticking out the top, face down, just like this. Long time ago. You know, not for a while. So I'm very careful these days. I don't.
Oh, you have to be. And it's kind of funny though, just the connection between alcohol and other drugs and people that do what we do, creative people in general, not just musicians. I think of painters that are like some of the biggest lushes I've ever met in my
Oh yeah,
entire life. They're totally functioning, making great careers, but I mean, Jesus God, like it's wild to think about. And they don't have to perform, but they're still doing it to get into that, like to get over, I guess, whatever is inside of them that's
yeah.
inhibiting them from expressing themselves. And I don't know, it's been really weird trying to relearn how to do that without any substances, but I I think we already kind of know the answer as to why we gravitate towards these things, especially in our instances when it comes to, the anxiety issues and stuff like that. But why do you think some other people would do? Why do you think so many people fall into that trap?
Oh dear.
I mean, we're talking assumptions here,
Yeah,
but I mean,
maybe. Yeah,
as long
maybe
as
it's.
we don't name any specific person.
Yeah, I mean, maybe people. I don't know. Maybe people who like to expand and change their mind in one way or another
Yeah.
are more creative. I don't think there is a generalisation. I think for everyone that does get
No.
off their face to create, there's people that just don't. So I've found when I've had to do anything important like record or mix, I don't have anything. I won't smoke anything. I won't drink anything till we're done, and that's it.
Yeah.
I do that completely. Like I want to be on top of it. I don't. It's nice to say, oh, it helps. It helps free my mind, but it doesn't really help me at all. It's
No, it
sitting
makes
down
it
and
much
focusing, and
worse.
no. So
Yeah.
sitting down and focusing and working on something is what works. So, um, yeah, it's finding that spark to inspire you, isn't it? Initially, that's what I'm having difficulty at the moment with, just finding that initial
Kick.
kick. Yeah. So, but it's yeah. I'm yeah, a few things I want to get on and record, but it's just trying to find a way into it at the moment. So, but I've got an idea for a little project.
Well, what are you thinking? Just vocals and guitars, or implementing other instruments? What do you got planned?
Uh, it's potentially three small projects of about 3 tracks each,
Okay.
and one will be all acoustic, one will be all electric, one will be a mix, and then we'll
Oh,
see how the theme, if the themes then may carry forward through different things. So it'd
mediums. Yeah.
be called Acilec, ACELEC. It's an idea I've had for a long time, and it's just the acoustic stuff will be mostly plugged in acoustic, even though it's, electroacoustic, but acoustic percussion, things from the kitchen hit with sticks and stuff like that. The electronic one will be mostly electronic guitars and electric guitars, synthesizers. But the acoustic one, I still want lots of processing, lots of sound processing and all that stuff, just based on acoustic instruments. So um, it's just getting that thing started. I've had lots. Yeah, I've been working on a few little bits and pieces and some ideas that I've pulled from old jams that I haven't done anything with and stuff like that. So that's the
That's good
idea.
though. You have an idea, and that's the beginning of everything. Because if you don't have that, then you're just totally in the shits.
Yeah,
So it's just it. I get what you mean, and the worst is when you have an idea and you just, for one reason or another, whether it's a mental thing or you just don't have time and you can't get it out and you lose that idea, or you don't remember exactly how it was and you try and remember it. It
yeah,
doesn't matter how long you try to remember it, it's gone. It's
yeah,
gone. So if you ever have anything, just to anybody who might listen to this, God bless you if you listen to our rambling right now. But if you have an idea and you actually is working out sound wise, just take out one of these terrible
yeah,
devices,
yeah.
hit the record button. You'll thank yourself later.
Definitely. Yeah, video definitely. Um, Video's good because if you end up making up a lot of chords and stuff like that that don't really exist, the lost chords from Atlantis, you've got a visual reference of what you were doing. So, um, yeah, I've got some old bits and pieces. I've got some stuff that I've done on the looper, and just what I'll do is I'll just hit the button and record it for about a minute onto Reaper. So I've got some old things I created on loopers and stuff like that. And I was going through some of those the other day, and some really interesting ideas, and maybe even merge some of those together, mix some of those together, do a lot of stuff with pitch shifting, and it's going to be quite weird. Even though it's acoustic guitar mostly, it's not going to be like folky or any. It might be bits, might be. It'll be all over the place, but heavily processed. I think heavily processed acoustic guitars.
What I'm actually really into that right now. I'd be interested to hear that. And I say that, I don't know if you saw, I made a video about a guy called Tobias Hoffman. He's a German dude.
Yes.
So what he does, what he'll do at the end, he always uses a looper, and he's really, really into using it. And then I don't know what kind he has, but he's able to not just loop on top of loop, but he can then on certain ones have them reverse, but then other ones straightforward. The sounds he gets out of these like super old, like semi-hollow and hollow body guitars, it's freaking amazing. But it sounds like modernish in a way. It's so cool. And I'm like, man, that's such a unique perspective on taking these really, really old instruments where, most people think when you have those kinds of rigs, like what he plays through, he's playing like these highly sought after guitars through highly sought after amps, and he's still finding a way to be like, no, I'm gonna make it my own. I'm just gonna use the looper and make some crazy shit. It's gonna sound really weird and eccentric, but I really, really like it. So if you do something similar, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. It was you that put me onto that because yeah, you mentioned him in that video, and I think
Yeah,
I
he's the
said
best.
he sounded a cross between like Chet Atkins and Ivan Darcet, and Ivan Darcet is like he's a Norwegian
Out there.
guitarist who does
Yep.
electronics and stuff like that. And even though
Not
this
there.
guy Tobias Hoffman's playing this sort of traditional old jazz tune, there's elements of that coming in. I'm thinking, this is. I think he wants to be
Good.
in a space rock band. I think that's what he really wants. It's like,
Yeah, the record I had where he plays with the trio, it's so out there. The
oh
production is
yes,
so cool. It's really, really, really different. I could understand why it would never be like widely popular, because most people they don't really like that kind of experimentation stuff as far as, uh really becoming like a household kind of tune. But to me, if you like something a little bit weird, something that's just like makes you almost feel uncomfortable,
yeah,
I love it. And especially when you know the song, like it's a cover song, like he does, you really got a hold of me, and the way it kind of like it feels like you're drifting off into a dream, into this like synthetic world, but then he
yeah,
brings you right back into the traditional way of playing it. It's like,
yeah,
dude, my mind can't handle this. It's
yeah.
so
No,
cool.
I found the album on YouTube and listened through to it and thought it was brilliant. Just say
Yeah.
what he's done to these. You look at it, you think, oh God, a load of standard covers. Oh, I've heard these being played hundreds of times. Not like that,
Nope.
yeah, no, not like
No.
that. And it's just brilliant the way he's arranged them, and yeah, and it's nothing flash, it's nothing over the top. It's just really
No.
tasteful, but it's using that, isn't it? Using the old brain. So there's a lot
Well,
to be
that's
said
that.
for it.
That's the risk, though, because if you're gonna play a cover song, it is honestly maybe it's just because, I lived in bars and played so long and seen so many other people play. Like, I really don't like when they're played straight. I
No,
really don't. I don't like it at all. I find it just redundant at that point. Like you're a karaoke machine. Like I totally get why people do it because that's what the audience wants. At the
yeah,
end of the day, that's what the audience wants. So you have to kind of cater to them depending on where you're playing and if you're known or not. But like if you can take a cover song, make it your own in that kind of way and
yeah,
still like have that vibe, like that's difficult to do, man. Because some
yeah,
people like we've played versions of Led Zeppelin live that are nothing like Led Zeppelin. And people have been like, you kind of you didn't do this, or why'd you change that? It's just like because I wanted I
yeah.
wanted to. You know, we play the song "Bang Bang" by Nancy Sinatra, and I play it in a Latin beat with a lot of accented hitting on the actual guitar strings itself to simulate a drum, having the beat of the song. And some
Yeah,
people just look at me like you're ruining the song. But in my head, I'm making the song fun. Like, you know what
yeah.
I mean? I
It's
just
yeah. You can stand there and just learn the chords, and just so you're just covering the chords as
yeah.
something to sing to, and that I just want to see a bit of life and a bit of spark, regardless of what they're doing. That's just going through the motions in a lot of cases, I think, and
Yeah.
that's yes. But yeah, I've always wanted to put my stamp on stuff. When I haven't done a lot of cover versions, but we've generally chopped them about and done some weird things with them. Um, yeah, we did like a folk version of Hawkwind Silver Machine at one of our gigs. Mandolin and Indian instruments and varan and violin. This folk version of Silver Machine by Hawkwind. That was pretty good. One of my
That'd be
mates just wanted
fun.
to do it. We had a banjo on there and all this sort of stuff. One of my mates said, "I want to do Silver Machine." Right, okay, we'll do it then. Because I had a synthesizer that went like that. And he wanted to use something, so we're doing Silver Machine because I had a noise on my synthesizer. But yeah, almost like a bluegrass version of it. It's like, why the hell not? Why the hell not?
Yeah. Well, another thing that's fun to do is to trick people into thinking you're going to play the cover and then just totally not go in the other direction. We have a song that ends where I have the shimmer reverb on, and it's like, it's really kind of like out there. And I start playing the beginning of Stairway to Heaven, and then I just immediately stop once you're supposed to hit that well I changed the third note into a diminished chord, and then I hit this little thing that makes the shimmer pedal oscillate all the way down so it sounds like the world's collapsing,
Right.
and then I just go right into the next song, and people are like, what, like, where's the song? And I'm like, it's never here, it's never coming, that's never, not a thing. But it's yeah, I love the idea of just keeping people engaged when you're playing live. And what would you say? Because I don't want to say this in like a negative way, and I'm trying to look at it more of like a positive. But when you go out and you see somebody, you just want to go out, you have a drink. What are some hallmarks between somebody that you can really get engaged with, like when you're just watching them, like things that they do on stage and stuff like that, versus people that when you watch it, you just feel like, oh yeah, like you said, he's just going through the motions.
Yeah. It's there's things about technique for a start,
Mhm.
which is it just feels like some people are going through the motions. They've learnt the basic. Oh, it's okay. It's a C, and then it's a G, and then it's a D, and then it goes back to. But they've never done anything more with it. That's just okay. And they might even be messing a chord up. There was someone I saw a couple of bands down at the local art centre a few years ago, and this same woman was supporting both of them, and she'd been in the music business for like 30, 40 years, been on some albums with some people and all this sort of stuff, and half of her songs had the F chord in it, and every single time she changed to the F chord, she was buzzing it because she was doing the bar chord shape down at the first fret. And I'm just thinking, you've been playing for 40 years, half of your chords have got the sodding F chord in it, and every single time you go for it, you're buzzing it. And it's never occurred to you ever to sort that out. Either find a different shape, a different way of
I was gonna
playing it.
say, yeah.
Play the D shape on the whatever fret it is, fifth fret. Play the blooming do anything. Play a power chord. Just do
The
something.
power chord, that actually would be better than the constant
Whatever.
hear that. Yeah. Yeah.
Just work on it for half an hour until you don't buzz it. And it was like every time she went for this chord, I'm oh god, it was like doing my head in. And then I saw
That's
two
really
different
bad.
bands there, and she was supporting both of them. It was like, oh my god. But that's infuriating. So, um, yeah, if people just
Have your
don't.
gear actually functioning correctly, especially, as far as the sounds ringing out clear, that's a really good start.
Yeah, just learn to
It's
play.
funny, we're laughing, but I mean, that really can make a huge difference if your guitar's not set up right and you're having problems. The audience is going to notice it. They're
I
not
think it
stupid.
was just. I don't think she'd ever learned to play the F chord because it's quite a difficult bar chord to get. It's probably because of the tension and all that. It's. I
Uh,
just don't think she'd ever actually bothered to get it right. Bar
oh, so
chords
you
can
think
be tricky.
you think it was just straight up technique, not actual,
Yeah.
perhaps the way the guitar was set up. Okay.
No, the guitar sounded fine. Everything else sounded fine. It was just like every time she went for this F chord, she was just like it was just like spend half an hour of your life learning how to play the F chord. It'll play, or do what I
Or
did.
just don't bar it.
Yeah, for
Don't
years
bar it.
I never wrote a song with F or any form of B in it because I didn't know how to play a B and I hated playing F. So I just didn't write any songs. And there was a tune called Monosegi Boro by a guy called Martin Alcock,
Okay.
um, a multi instrumentalist, and I loved the tune and I wanted to learn to play it, and it had a B minor in it, and I had to learn how to play a B minor, and that was it. Otherwise, I would never have bought. I still wouldn't be playing it. So, but yeah, I never wrote anything with F chords or B chords in it for about
That's for
10 years. Wrote 5 albums, done loads of gigs.
You just could do an F or a B.
But this woman was writing an F chord in every other bloody song, despite the
Oh,
fact she couldn't play them. Just learn to play it. Focused
that's
practice.
unbelievable.
Focused
Uh,
practice.
outside of that kind of stuff, though, anything that you notice when the actual performance itself that you really like that gets you engaged when somebody's playing?
Um, I can understand people being nervous and not engaging with the crowd. That's not for everybody. So that's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
one of
yeah, yeah.
those things. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult if someone's losing the crowd. If you're in a pub and everyone's talking over you,
Yeah.
then people tend to play louder and people tend to talk louder, and it just doesn't work. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I just someone who's not an arsehole, basically. You just want to see someone that's not full of himself That's
Yeah.
really it. And I don't really care how talented or otherwise they are. If they're having fun, they're playing some decent music. That's it, really.
No,
You know, they're
that is
enjoying
it. No,
themselves,
no,
really.
no. I think the most important part is to not only see that not know the person is having fun, but for them to be able to show it. You
Yeah.
don't need to go out there and do crowd work. You don't
No.
need to dance around and make a big scene out of everything. It's very obvious though, sometimes when somebody, even if everybody else isn't paying attention, when somebody's just up there and they're really having fun with what they're doing, it doesn't look forced. They're just kind of smile. They're in their own little world, even if it's just like little sways, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that. I love seeing that kind of stuff. That's so endearing to me. And it is cool depending on the band. If it's like a full band, it's good to see energy. But people that know the material well enough that it's just comes out naturally. There's no worrying about the performance aspect, the technical aspect. They're just enjoying it and they're having fun, and you can see they're having fun. Like I love that. And I feel like we have so many ways to cheat these days as far as like remembering songs, or like you can look down, you can
Oh,
even have things put on your digital pedals for cheat sheets. I know a guy that plays with the Line 6, and he has a patch for every song he plays, and he actually makes pretty decent living doing this. But it's mostly covers, but for each one it has the main chord progression in the name of the patch, so it's illuminated.
oh,
So what'll
right.
happen is, if he's having a problem or he's having you'll just see him kind of staring down and then getting it. And then like, he'll be like, oh, I got it. And then it goes. But like for that awkward moment at first, I didn't know what he was doing. He's just like, oh yeah. He's just like, I programmed it into the faceplate so I could read it. And I was like, Jesus.
I can't be bothered with all that.
Yeah,
I can't.
I can't even make a patch for the Helix. Do you know how
No.
it took me a full almost 2 days to even get that thing to have sound come out of it. I'm an idiot. I could turn on a guitar amp and it's good. You give me this digital stuff. I know it looks like I know what I'm doing with that. No,
No.
I could get lost, man. I'm a simpleton. So the fact that he had all this in it, and each time he went up a bank, song changed, all the effects changed,
Oh,
and then it had all of the progression written out. And I was just like, that's so clever, but I don't like that. I don't
no.
like the fact that you have to have your reference. You know what I mean?
No. You've got to. No. You've got to remember. No, it's too much to remember. It is. I did a gig years ago, and we had a trio, two guitars and a bass,
Yeah.
and we had the all the drum tracks. I put them onto mini disc, little portable mini disc recorder, and had the drum tracks on there, and left a
Yeah.
substantial gap between each one. And we played this tune. I had the drum track going, and I forgot to pause the mini disc. And so we're then playing this next tune, which happened to be some slow ballady thing. And halfway through that, this massive drums come through for this tune called Dome. And I'd literally had, I'd done it on my old Zoom 234. And so I had, I think, 9 different drum kits and 3 different bass lines going. And so, boom, halfway through this sodding ballad, it's just blasted out through this PA. So that was
Oh,
like,
that's wonderful.
I'm never doing that again. Never using pre-recorded backing tracks of any description whatsoever. First
Oh,
and last time that was.
those scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, that was first
Those
and
scare
last
the
time.
crap out of me.
That was just for the drum patterns and stuff like that. But yeah, no, first and last time. Never doing that again. So
I think if I was a lead guitar player or I had a lot of solos and songs, maybe I could get on board with doing that. Like the backing tracks. If somebody else took care of it. Like I didn't have to do anything. If somebody else just like on top of it, I think I could do it. But because I'm not, I don't like the idea of it at all.
I
Because I
don't.
feel I feel like you can already have it sound big enough with just a vocal and a guitar, whether it's an acoustic or an electric guitar. You could do fine. You don't
Yeah,
need to have the drums, the bass, and then strings or whatever extra crazy production, because then it's just you almost look ridiculous up there, because it almost is like karaoke
it
to
is
an
karaoke.
extent.
Yeah, again, it can be. Again, some people just go through the motions, but some people. I know a couple of guitar players around here that use backing tracks of various types. I'm not sure if they're ones
Yeah.
they've recorded themselves, but they actually do add some value when they play. They do play different, they play decent guitar lines over it and do some improvised stuff and whatever else. And they're not just going through the motions, but still, I think I'd rather just see them playing an acoustic without all that. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
even the case that you just made, that would be how I would want to do it,
Yeah.
because it is cool when you could really rip into a solo, because you can't get the same life when you're a player ripping out, especially if you're playing with gain. You're not getting the same kind of effect when you're just playing the guitar by itself versus having that
Oh no.
backing, or preferably a band behind you. So in those kinds of instances, for those kinds of songs, I see tons of value in that, and I'm like, I get it, but if you're not doing that, it just feels kind of like weird to me, at least. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I've seen people do well with it and they love it, and it's a big part of their set. And I've also seen people just go up with a looper, and that's it. And it sounded huge by the end of it because they have like 8 loops on top of something, and it's just they've created like this multi-layer cake that I
Yeah.
got to listen to.
Yeah.
It's
I love the
awesome.
looper stuff. It still confuses the hell out of me, that Boss RC 500. It
Yeah.
just
That's too
confuses me.
much. That's too much.
So I'm still mostly using the little tiny nano looper, just the single one. It's just easier, but um, that is amazing. I've had stuff here. I've had like sequencers and drum machines and guitars plugged in, multi effects and two loopers and MIDI and all it. And it's just like freaking amazing. Just what, and I'm not even using it properly. You know, I'm just
No.
sort of using it in a very, very basic way. I'm not doing A and B
Yeah.
parts, and I'm just, but it's, you can really, really lose yourself in those. So that's, yeah, lot
It's
of fun.
fun.
But
It's a
it's still,
lot of fun.
but it's so complicated. It scares me a bit, that looper. I don't know whether I made the right choice or whether it was a bit ambitious for me. Um, yeah,
Maybe one day you'll sit down and figure it out. And
I'm
maybe
getting
that'll be the
there.
thing that's your catalyst to get you going. Maybe that'll
Yeah,
be it, figuring out the looper.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I keep having a go, and it is always fun though. You just lose hours and hours. So it's in the big red box staring at me. Yeah. So
I love Boss Gear. I think Boss is awesome. They're one of the best companies in the world for making effects, but some of it is just it's too much. I've had the Strymon, the Volante. That's a delay pedal that has a looper into it. I've had that for over a year. I didn't know until about 2 weeks ago that when I'm doing a loop, I could change whether I wanted it to be in reverse or not just by stepping on the thing a certain number of times. I did it on accident. I was like, how the hell did I do that? I was like, what have I done here? And then if you hit the middle button, I can pause everything entirely. Dude, I, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I am clueless. I'm very clueless with all that, but it's so fun to mess with. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's a line of how complicated I'll go.
yeah, yeah. I've got a little synth, little IK multimedia Uno synth,
Yeah.
and all of the presets sound really good on it. So you just get a preset, put it through a sequencer, and just start messing with them. But you just turn one of the buttons too far, and all sorts of horrible things happen. The whole thing goes silent, and you're spending 5 minutes trying to get a sound back. I don't understand synthesizers really, so I just tend to leave that alone. But yeah, I mean, I am enjoying the loop. It's good. I had it running the other day. My mate was over, and I had the hollow body going, and had 2 channels going into it. One with the acoustic, one with the electric. I was doing some stuff with that, and that was quite interesting, running the guitar in stereo through it, different effects on different sides and stuff. So a lot of fun to be had with that, I think. It's just say the looper makes me nervous. It's all of different every thing on it is a different color flashing light. You've got yellow, green, blue, pink, white, red, all
Yep.
different color flashing lights, and you're meant to know what they all mean.
Yep.
And this one's flashing green, and this one's flashing pink, and this one's blue, and it's
No.
all meant to be telling me something.
Oh, you're trying to give me a panic attack.
Yeah, so I think the first time I used it, I rigged it up to a synthesizer and a drum machine as well. And I'm pressing all these buttons, and it's still going. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? And I hadn't realised it was my drum machine. When I'd started the looper, it automatically set it off because it was MIDI'd up to it, and I'm just
No.
pressing all these buttons, unplugging the looper, and the
Nope.
bloody drum machine's going. So this is why I love acoustic guitar. This is why I'm
No,
making,
none of that.
yeah,
You just play the instrument. You're good to go.
yeah. That's the main reason. No wires, really. It's not because of the
Yeah.
sound or the purity. It's just because you don't have to plug the sodding thing in. You know.
I found It's a similar thing with digital gear, just in general, man. Like somebody was asking me to make a video about how digital gear has gotten so much better, and I'm like, I don't want to do that because I don't really like it, but I don't dislike it for the reasons of, oh, I have to play a tube amp, otherwise then this is all worthless and yada yada yada. I
Yeah,
don't. I really just want to play the guitar.
yeah,
And whenever and especially the newer stuff, it's all so you could lose days
yeah,
in the menus,
yeah.
and that's distracting to me. I don't like that, and I haven't found any of the stuff that sounds out of the box, like the really like intricate stuff that I really like the sound of. So then I'm inevitably going to be sitting here like a jerk, trying to figure out how to get a sound that I like out of it. Not exactly sure, and it's just at that point, no. I turn on an amp. There are little knobs on it. I can hear it directly in the room, and if it sounds good, I'm done.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm done. So that's
yeah.
mainly the main reason that I'm probably always just going to be mainly an analog guy. Outside of
Yeah.
that delay pedal, that confuses me.
No, I think I would like Boss to upgrade the ME80. I love that pedal. You've got the Boss ME80 multi effects.
That's the
You've
one with
effective
two.
no, you effectively got seven different stomp boxes, seven different
Oh,
pedals, and
oh,
they
different
each
pedal,
relate
different pedal.
to overdrive or just overdrive or delay. So it's almost like having seven separate stomp boxes,
Got
and
it.
each section's got its own twiddly knobs and no menus, and it's just easy. Um, it's just, but it's an old piece of kit in terms of the sound processing, I guess. So I hope
But if it's easy to use, what like we can't be the only ones that just want something that plugs in and sounds good and you can mess with it
yeah.
pretty easily with old-fashioned knobs.
No, I mean, because obviously that's their sound processing technology is ever improving. So I hope
Oh,
they do
it's great.
so I hope they do a version like they do an upgraded version of they keep that form factor rather than just having a box with two buttons and loads of menus and stuff. I can't be bothered. But that thing, it's like having a pedal board in front of you, seven different buttons plus a wah pedal, and that's it. So um, very easy, very easy to use. Weighs about
Yeah,
4 tons.
Line 6 makes a modern one of those called the HX effects, where it's only just effects,
Yeah.
period. And I think that's pretty cool. Like I don't know how much I would use it, or and then I'd fall into the same category though, because it connects to the computer and then you can dial in the exact parameter you want. You put this thing here, you layer it in with the other one. It's just
I can do that with the Boss, and I never have. I just always just
yeah.
I've never touched the presets on it. I never will. I didn't even know that it had any presets for about a year, and then
But
pressed
it just
on the
sounded right, right?
tuner. All right, what's going on? I pressed on the tuner, and these other lights are flashing. Realised it's got about 60 or 70 presets, so I don't
Yeah.
care. I've been through them a couple of times. That's interesting, but I've never. No, I can't be bothered. It's just you just dial it in and stomp on it and go. So nice and easy.
That's
The
how it
main
should be.
the main problem with it is the LEDs. The red LEDs are so bright. They are so bright that as soon as you stamp on something, you can't read the lettering behind it because the LED is just
Oh,
burning your retinas out. It's just it's like the
too much.
strength of 1,000 suns. So yeah, I have to have bits of tape over them also.
Well, it's all the more reason to not get bombed before you start playing. If you already can't read it when you're sober, you have a few glasses of
Oh god.
wine or a little bit of whiskey, forget it, man. And that brick thing, I bet you it does weigh a ton. Because I had one of the old Boss GT effects. I don't remember the model number, but I remember it was damn heavy. Like it was a piece of kit. It
Yeah.
was a real piece of machinery. Whereas now sometimes you pick up a modern thing and it's like your phone. Like you could
Yes.
throw this thing, but it's more powerful than a laptop almost. It's insane to me. I kind of liked how rugged and just too much
It
weight
is.
wise these
It,
older ones were.
it is. It's just the wrong size. The ME80 is just the wrong size to fit into a sports bag or a little rucksack. So if I go to
Yeah.
my brother's and I have to take a separate carrier bag with this thing,
No,
it's
you don't
still
want to bring luggage.
so it's just and it weighs a ton. But it's so good. It's so good. But then last time I went to my brother's, I just took the Turbo Rat and a Boss PS3 pitch shifter delay. That was my. I decided not to take the ME80, So that's all I took was a turbo rat and the pitch shifter delay, and that's all I used all day, and that was bloody awesome. Nothing to worry about. I mean, what the turbo rat is just on or off. That's it. I've got it set where I like it, and the delay I just basically had that on one setting, and when I wanted a longer delay, I just switched over to the next thing. Didn't bother too much. 2 delays all day and one distortion. It's whale of a time. No presets, no menus, no nothing. And
Just play.
yeah, good fun.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's kind of why I like you, Rob. I like that there's just like, just get on with it kind of attitude, just with everything.
Yeah,
And
you have to.
it feels like that's not always the case. And I do appreciate that.
No, there you go, and you just you just got
Just get on with it.
keep going. Yeah, that's it. Keep going.
And that's not the problem when you buy all this new stuff. It's just like, oh yeah, it's another distraction for this, another distraction from this. It's like you have all this stuff. What do you just do something with it?
Yeah,
Get on with it. Yeah.
I think it's. I was thinking about that. You did that on the you did a video or a live stream talking about what gear inspires you, and I was thinking about it, and it's actually the things that have inspired me most have been various people I've worked with, finding the right person to work with at the right time. And that's something I think I need to do. That's something I don't know what I want. There's a musician, a local musician somewhere, I'm sure, that would be really ideal to get together and jam with. And I don't know who they are or what they do at the moment, and they don't know me. So it's just a matter of trying to have our paths cross.
It worked for me, and it worked for me at a bar, and it ended up being the person I married.
Yes.
So I mean, I totally understand, because I was in the exact same spot. I was just like because I need that inspiration. It's funny when we play, like I don't play at all the way I normally do when I play with my wife, because it's a different kind of thing. It's like I'm not playing songs that are my songs, so to speak. They end up being songs that are written, and like, you know what I mean? But like it feels like they're our songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like it's so different to have that kind of inspiration, because it brings out different things in your playing. It makes you want to try different things that you wouldn't have thought of, because when you have another creative person, preferably somebody who's similar to you but different enough, whereas you're not totally on the same page, otherwise it's just boring at that point. You're like, all right, like cool, we know exactly what we're doing, we're done here. It kind of takes the adventure out of it. There's nothing like it. So I hope you find somebody like that at some point. Doesn't even need to be somebody you marry. God bless you. Somebody that you can play guitar with and have some inspiration.
Yeah, it's finding someone who writes. I think, as you say, it's coming up with stuff that neither of you would have come up with separately. That's what I like when you work with someone.
Well, that's real collaboration. Because otherwise you're guiding somebody. And I've never liked that. I've been in bands like that where me, or in some cases like the singer, they kind of dictate everything. And if you kind of start to put your own spin on it, they'll kind of look at you and they're like, that's not what I'm hearing. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm hearing, and we're a band.
Yeah.
And I want to play it like this. No, do it this way. All right.
Yeah. The odd thing like that's okay, but no, if it's
not when it's all the time.
No, just get a monkey to do it, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, computers can do everything. What did we just spend the last 20 minutes talking about? How strong all these things are and how complicated they are. You know what? Just have it programmed in. You spend 5 days in Pro Tools, you figure it out, and you make your own record. You don't need any of us.
Yeah.
And when you go out to play live, just use your backing track that you made in Pro Tools and just sing it all. Have your fun, right?
Yeah, and then your battery goes down and you can't do anything. That's wonderful.
Oh, I mean, dude, can you imagine if you were just a singer and that malfunctioned in the middle of a gig or right in the beginning after the first song, and you're stuck up there for 40 minutes a cappella with no backing tracks and nothing to save the tuning on your voice. Ooh.
Yeah. I remember a folk festival, going to this folk festival years ago. Must have been about 15,000 people in the audience, and halfway through the afternoon, the power went down. And so, what are we going to do? We're going to have to play acoustic. It's a bloody folk festival. So they've got, 50, 60 bands full of the most brilliant acoustic musicians there. And so what we're going to do is just get together on stage and just like start
Just
jamming.
play.
And it's freaking amazing. It was almost a shame when the power came back on. This was them in their element, you know.
And then the converse of that, I think it was like 7 months ago, there was a band that was headlining a tour or a show, a show on a tour, and they lost their laptop, and the headliners canceled. And
Yeah.
this was a full band. This was two guitarists, a bassist, a drummer, and a singer, and they're like, we can't perform songs without our laptop. You what?
I don't
You're
what.
telling me you have power, you have
Yeah.
microphones, you have your instruments, and you won't go out there as the headliners. You won't go out without your
That's
laptop. You should be banned from making music. You should
yeah.
be ostracized.
That's
Go on.
crazy.
But I mean, that's some people they depend on it that much, man.
Nah. Too
You
much to
can't go
go
out and
wrong.
play your instruments just with your friends because at that point that's what you're doing. And think about it. How cool of a show would that be if you really like that band and you know that the rest of the shows on that tour were not like the one that you saw and you got to
Yeah.
actually see them really play? That'd be so much cooler. But instead, no, we can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't be asked.
Yeah.
Can't
Definitely.
perform my own songs. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Definitely. It's good. Yeah. You've got to be able to cover when things go wrong. That's something that happened at a gig. That's another thing we talked about at the beginning. I was
Yeah.
playing a gig in Colchester about 25 years ago on a Friday or a Saturday night. And we got to the last two songs, me and another guy on guitar, and I was doing some vocals. And we were playing some real stomping, sort of swampy blues stuff. And halfway through this song, it's like two songs before the end, my bottom E string just broke. And I ripped the string off, retuned my guitar. I don't know what to, and just carried on playing and got through the next two songs. I don't know what I tuned the guitar to, but it's just that'll do, and it just gave me a way of carrying on playing what I was doing. But yeah, there was one of my mates was sitting in the audience and some other guy was sitting there, and he goes, "I've never seen anything like that." He says that bloke just broke a string, ripped it off his guitar, retuned his guitar, and carried on playing, and didn't miss a single freaking beat. I was like, I was just like, I'd had enough. It was one of those gigs where the place was full. There was a idiot in there who kept turning my amp off between every song and plugging the fruit machine in, the slot machine in. It was just like one of those sodding nights. The landlord decided he wanted to deduct the drinks he'd bought us for free off of the money he was going to give us at the end of the gig. I don't know. It was just like,
That's lovely.
and it was like the whole pub was full of people, and they were sort of into it, but not particularly. And we're just thinking, we just want to go home, get these two tunes out of the way, and go home. And the crowd then went mad and demanded encores. We're there for another two sodding tunes. Oh, for God's sake, really? Oh, but
You have to go on though.
yeah,
That I think that's like if there's one thing that I would say, don't ever do this to anybody who is new to performing live. Never stop. Never if you screw up in a song, just pretend it didn't happen. Don't acknowledge it. Just keep
oh
playing.
yeah,
Never just stop. And barring massive failure of your equipment, you can always go on. I lost a pick playing an acoustic show outdoors of surf music. I was playing Miserlou when I lost the pick, Rob. Miserlou in the first section. My hand, and I have pictures of this, my hand by the end of that song was, it looked like out of a movie. Blood
yep,
everywhere. My Martin, blood all over. I didn't care. It
yeah,
hurt so much. And I just still, and that's super fast picking. And
yeah,
I'm just making it worse. I'm seeing more blood go out. I have this poor girl who was horrible. I'll never forget the look on her face. She was maybe 15, 20 feet away, but like she was like just locked in, like she was just staring at my hand because she could see what was happening. Some people weren't even paying attention. And after she's like, why would you do that? She's like, you knew you were bleeding, right? And I was like, yeah, of course I knew I was bleeding. What kind of question? Like, how would I not know I was bleeding? She's like, well, why would you keep playing? She's like, why would you do this? And I'm like, you have to.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I stop playing the guitar on Miserlou, which is a song that is only guitar, then we're gonna have a major problem here.
Yeah.
So you do it. You do it,
That's
you laugh, you take pictures, and then everybody's just like, yeah, he's not screwing around.
that's it. I think that was one of the last gigs I did. It was a cover band, and we started the gig off with song 2, Blur's song 2.
Yep.
And I was playing a Telecaster style guitar, and I'm not used to the sides on the ashtray bridge, and smacked into the very, very first note, smacked into it, and did the same thing. Just took the top off my finger.
Chunk.
And was just, there's still blood on that guitar like 20 odd years later, just splatters all over the from, and it was just pouring out. And that was the first note of the first song of the gig. So that was just like, carry on.
You have to.
It's like, this is gonna go. And then that nail split. So then I'm onto that nail, and then that nail split. So by the end of the gig, I'm onto that. I'm having to play with like using that finger as a pick. And
you can't even cheat and go back to finger picking at that point because you've ruined all the rest of your fingers.
On one finger by then, yeah. But you had to get through it, whole freaking gig. But yeah, that was really good fun. Ended up with like a 10 or 15 minute instrumental version of Rapper's Delight.
Oh my god.
Awesome. Awesome.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
It was freaking great. I was trying to I got to do this 10-minute guitar solo, and it was just like freaking awesome. The band wouldn't stop playing it, and the people wouldn't stop dancing. So we just carried on. It was awesome. Freaking awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. I didn't even know the tune. I thought we were playing Another One Bites the Dust.
Jesus Christ. Let me think about that. I can see it.
But it was.
I can see that.
They did tell me before the gig that it was Rapper's Delight, so I did look it up.
You weren't listening.
I didn't really care.
Yeah, you were just like, whatever. I'll figure it out.
Freaking awesome. Nah. That's the way to do a cover version. Do a rap song and do it as an instrumental. There you go.
I'm gonna end on this. We got to take our kid to the doctor. The first night that my wife came over to play, when I met her at the bar, and we were trying to figure out a day for her to come and jam to see if it would work, right? She brings her little ukulele over, and she's a 5'2" Mexican girl, all right? She's singing rap songs on the ukulele, and it's fucking hilarious. It was so endearing. I have a video of one of them. She used to do Gin and Juice. So she's singing there, playing Gin and Juice on a ukulele in my little recording studio, and I'm like, I'm dead. Like, I'm gonna get married. Like, this sucks. Like, I'm either gonna marry this girl or I'm gonna, off myself or do something like because it's not gonna get better than this. Like, this is amazing. But I have that clip. So if anyone really wants to see it, I'll post it. I'll never get rid of that. That was just. It was hilarious. It's such a cool moment, but it's funny when you think about that because a lot of people associate rap songs just like, oh, people are very polarizing with rap. They either like love it or they really, really hate it. But I mean, like certain songs, like it's just fun, man. Like rappers like that's just fun. You could sit with a guitar and jam to that. That's a good vibe to it, Same thing with rappers. Gin and Juice, but yeah, I don't know how we landed here. I have no idea how we landed here, but that's half the reason I like talking to you. But Rob, do you got anything you'd like to say to everybody before we got to get going? Because I do got to we have a doctor's appointment for a little one today.
Oh well, I hope she's doing all right anyway. So,
she was actually doing better. And then what happened was yesterday she doesn't take naps. Yesterday she slept from 2:00 until about 6, and I was like kind of worried because she genuinely doesn't take naps. And when she woke up, she couldn't. Her throat hurt so much she couldn't drink water or swallow.
Right.
So that's the reason that we called this morning to get her in to see if there was something we could do for that. But yeah, she's just been sleeping and kind of laying low today, and so hopefully they give her something. We'll be all right, and go from there. This was unexpected. I thought that we were kind of out of the woods with that, but it seems like maybe just a little infection or virus or something like that. But hopefully it's not too serious.
Okay, mate. Well, all the best. Get well
Thank
soon.
you.
Yeah, nice one.
Now more often, Rob.
We'll talk again soon.
At least once a month.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely, definitely. I'll
If
get a
you
better webcam
want
as
to,
well.
Rob, I'll tell you. Yeah, who cares? Who cares about the quality of the audio or the webcam or whatever? It's all about just talking. If you want, I'll send this to you. You can post it for yourself if you want to. I don't care. I just like I like having good conversation. I like, you know, like we said, most of the times I'm running around with my headphones in because I try to avoid most people.
Yes,
So
exactly.
anybody that I can like willingly sit down with, I mean, it really means that, I'm appreciative and I like talking to you. So if you want, we could do this more often. Just let me know what's
Definitely,
going on, right?
definitely. Yeah, without a doubt.
All
I'd
right.
love to.
You be well, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, Jim. See you later, mate.
All right. Take it easy.